For those of you who are unaware, game development can be pretty tricky. And honestly, this video is less about the difficulties of game development and more about the difficulties of planning on the business side of game development. This was me on December 1st. Challenge. I'm going to try to create 3 commercial games in the next 30 days. 2 weeks ago, I let you guys know that I was going to challenge myself to making 3 basically mini games and go ahead and get them out and ready and submit them to PlayStation. And basically I mentioned in that video that our baby's coming earlier than expected and that we were going to be trying to get as many games done so that I could have some games coming out over the next couple of months, so I didn't have to work right when the baby arrived. However, PlayStation had different plans. This video is kind of just to talk about how fast and crazy things change. Since that time, we've spent 2 full days in the hospital, and basically right after that, I realized, hey, this is not going to happen. I'm not going to be able to do this challenge right now. Things are shifting and changing very fast and furious for us, so that I'm going to have to just push this challenge off to sometime next year, because honestly, I'd like to see if I could make 3 full, really awesome games in a month, basically. But for now, the challenge is definitely going to be on ice. So then I turned and decided, okay, what could I do next? I figured I'd just do one of the 3 games, the new Tilting Tiles game I was working on. I posted some of the updates in Discord. You guys can see some of it on the screen. We started doing new art, new models. I have the new gameplay mechanic down for the new game. I just needed to do music and level design. But then I decided to check the PlayStation website. So the PlayStation dev site, I can't really talk about it. I can't give you guys any specifics on how anything works or any of the processes, because I steer clear of anything that is NDA related. However, it's pretty common knowledge that you can't just make a game and then all of a sudden it appears on a console. Whether it's Nintendo, PlayStation, or Xbox, they have a submission period where you have to submit the game for testing. I just so happened to check to see what my available testing slots were, and I found out that there was basically only 1 day free in December. I think the flood of new PlayStation developers has a lot to do with it, but also, there are some limited holiday hours, so that also makes it worse. But I basically looked at that date and said, oh shoot, this is the only day that I can submit a game for testing, and there's no way I can finish this Tilting Tiles game in that time frame. So after reviewing the deadline, I realized in a little bit of a panic that if I did not hit that deadline, I could not get my game out in January. And January is already a problem because, you don't realize and get paid the same month that you put the game out. You get paid in the future after your game has been selling for a little bit. So I realized, hey, I'm not going to be able to finish this Tilting Tiles game in that time frame. So I looked around and tried to figure out what I could do in that time frame to get at least something out in the first quarter of next year, and preferably in the first month in January. I looked around at all of my games and decided that a PS5 port of Mighty Math would be the quickest and simplest process that I could go down. Once again, I ran into some caveats here. I didn't want to do a straight port of Mighty Math and just put it on PS5. Although there are a lot of people who have enjoyed the game, there have been some notable complaints and things that people would like to see in the game. So, like the sweet soul I am, I decided to address some of them, which was a terrible mistake. Opening up the project after not looking at it for a while, I realized some of the ways that I coded the convoluted scoring system was actually kind of difficult. So there's 2 main complaints to the game. One, people wanted to see score on the screen while you're playing. And then 2, that the game is just, it's a little too hard. You just die instantly. And, people can't make it through that many rounds if you do one mistake. So I decided to do 2 things. Add an options menu. So I created a whole nother scene in Unity. I created a few options so you can change the game's difficulty basically. And then also you can now display or hide the player's score. But basically how I was coding the score, there's a lot of calculations done in the end, and it's all wrapped up with the achievement system and saving and loading code. So it's done in one chunk, and it's calculated at the end of the game when you die, so it's not running constantly in the background. So I basically had to recode how I was doing score. People think that it would be very easy to do, just put some text on the screen and have it display the score. But the way that I coded the game actually had to do an entirely new solution. So I had all of that achievement saving and loading code calculations at the end, but then a different way to calculate it during the live gameplay. So with all that being said, guys, I basically spent a little bit too much time working on the game. It's pretty awesome now because it's the same game, but now there's a rookie mode to make the difficulty easier, and you basically have 2 lives. So if you make one mistake, your character dies and it resets the score back to 5, but you can continue playing, and that way players can see more of the game, see more of the special effects that we have programmed into the later rounds, and just generally get more enjoyment and play time out of the game. So once I got all of that done, I realized that I was already cutting it close and I missed my deadline because of my upload speeds by about 15 minutes. I thought I was going to have the game done. I stayed up all night and worked pretty much till like 3 a.m., got up, and then worked all day until my deadline time to have the game uploaded. But I forgot that the upload system is a little bit different than it used to be, and my computer was just going a little bit too slow, and I just barely missed the deadline by about 15 minutes. So after that, I realized that all of that time I'd spent working on that game is not really going to matter because it's still not going to be able to make it out till maybe late January at this point, which is pretty much a bummer. And at the same time, just so you guys get an even bigger picture of what it takes to manage and juggle all these different types of tasks, I was trying to do YouTube videos, and I noticed that at the same time, I had a ton of comments start to come in about a bug that we have in the PlayStation 4 version of Maze in North America. I fixed this bug on the PC version and on the PS4 European version, but the North American version is an older version of the game. So I realized, oh man, I thought I was going to go back and fix that a little while back, but then it was quite difficult, so I got put back on our to-do list because, to be honest, it's a bug towards the very end of the game that most people don't experience until they walk in to one of the final levels, and you can basically complete the entire game, but you just get soft locked into that level. You can't escape that level once you do play it, so you just have to play that level last if you wanted to play every level in the game. We're not really selling any copies of it now. The game is super old, so it's on my to-do list, but to stay in business, it's got to be done at a different time. But I decided that, while I'm trying to do this Mighty Math stuff, while I'm trying to make this new game, while I'm trying to get all my year-end videos done for YouTube and get all this stuff done before the baby comes, I need to get this Maze patch fixed. And it turns out I missed by taking too long to do it. I've got to go up another level and upgrade it through a higher version of Unity, and it completely broke all of the lighting from the European patch fix. So, in order to fix one line of code for a small bug in the North American PlayStation 4 version, I have to fix the lighting and rebake all the lighting for every single level in the entire game. The lighting system is completely new in the new version of Unity, and for some reason, I'm having trouble getting similar quality results to the older version of the game. So it's going to take quite a bit of time to try, bake, fix, delete, try, bake, fix, delete over and over and over, and then go through and make sure nothing else broke. Testing the entire game over again to make sure nothing in the newer version of Unity is incompatible with the older version of Unity. So I just wanted to make this video just to explain to you guys what I've been doing over the last 2 weeks, that I'm not going to be continuing the challenge, and to just give you an idea of how fast things come at you during game development, changing deadlines, customer complaints, sales on games, needing to get new games out, You know, it just, there's a lot to juggle, all when you're trying to do, you know, videos and stuff to market on social media. And I figured a video like this would give you guys, especially for those who are following, you know, who want to be game developers, just an idea when you get to this level and you have this many games out and you're on this many platforms, random things can happen and you just got to shift your focus and pick what's most important and go for it and try to do everything in the most efficient pattern and path as possible, which, you know, is quite difficult sometimes. So I hope you found some kind of value in my struggles and pain in this video, and you found it enjoyable, at least, to get a little bit of an insight into behind the scenes of what my thinking was and what we've been working on at Treefall Studios in the last month of 2023. Going forward, we're basically, Mighty Math is done, so you guys can look forward to a new and improved version of Mighty Math, and it's going to be coming out on the PlayStation 5 and the Atari VCS. I haven't even begun the Atari process yet, like the submission process, but I've got the game running, so that's pretty cool. So you guys can look forward to that. And now that that's done, we're currently going to be working on fixing the maze patch, you know, just so we don't have any broken games out there. We want our customers to have good experiences and fun times playing our games. So we're going to be fixing that for the North American version of Maze, which is probably going to take us a couple days, to be honest, with how long it takes to bake the lighting on my computer. So, and then after that, we got to submit it, you know, for testing and all of that. So it's going to be a little bit before you actually get the fix, but just to go ahead and let everyone know on the YouTube channel, because we've been getting comments on multiple different videos now from different people. If you watch this video, we are aware and we are working on it as fast as we can. And then after all of that is done, we're going to get back to our new small tilting tiles project and do the fourth and final tilting tiles game for Tilting Tiles Series 1. And then after that, we're going to get back to finishing up the development on Maze Rising Trials. So, guys, it just moves fast and furious up in here at Treefall Studios. That'll give you some insight into it. But without further ado, I got to thank all the patrons who support Treefall Studios on patreon.com. I got to give a personal shout out to Carmen Red, Shark and Minnow, PLP, Thomas Stewart, and Ben Josh. Thank you guys. I think that's everybody who gets a personal shout out. Thank you guys so much for what you do for Treefall Studios on patreon.com. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed my turmoil. I will catch you in the next video.